There's so much uncertainty here in Buenos Aires about what we're going to see when this event really kicks off tomorrow. There's a cocktail reception tonight. A lot of the world leaders are arriving now. President Trump is in the air as we speak. But some of the big question marks here going into tomorrow include this idea of auto tariffs on European imports to the United States. The president tweeted about that, raising some questions about what exactly he has planned, saying that because of the GM layoffs, he's considering some changes. So something to watch on that front. Also, this idea of a possible China tariff truce. There's been some talk that we might not be able to expect a full trade deal here in Buenos Aires, but what we might get is a truce between the U.S. side and the Chinese side in which they simply agree to stop raising tariffs and then work on a series or a framework for more meetings in which they can come up with that final deal over the coming months after this G-20 here in Argentina. And then, of course, there's this idea of congressional opposition to the new trade agreement between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. They are expected to sign that agreement here in Buenos Aires tomorrow, but will Congress approve the deal is still very much an open question, so we'll have to see how leaders back in Washington respond to all that. Meanwhile, that very important dinner on Saturday night between President Trump and Xi Jinping, the president signaling today as he left for Argentina that he was still unsure about whether or not he wanted ultimately to cut a deal with the Chinese on this trip. One interesting tea leaf to read here about this meeting is that Peter Navarro, who is widely seen as one of the most hawkish China trade U.S. administration officials, is coming to the dinner. A White House official confirmed for me today. So that is an interesting signal, perhaps, that the hawks are on the ascendance in the Trump administration, or at least have figured out a way to get themselves invited to the dinner. So we'll watch for all of those dynamics tomorrow. And of course, this is a city that is effectively on lockdown in terms of security. There's also the possibility for some significant protests, and we'll be following all that tomorrow as well here in Buenos Aires, guys.
Eamon, I wanted to ask also how much of a distraction you feel the Cohen guilty plea in the Mueller investigation will be to these trade talks, and what you made of some of the meetings that President Trump has cancelled, separate from meeting President Xi.
Sure. You mentioned cancellations. He canceled the meeting with President Vladimir Putin. He said as he got on the helicopter to leave the White House today, he said he thought it was a very good time to have the meeting with Vladimir Putin. It wasn't canceled. Then he got on Air Force One and took to the air. Apparently, he got a briefing from top officials on the Ukrainian incident involving Russia, decided to cancel that meeting with Vladimir Putin. So that's another question mark, is where does the Russia relationship with the United States and Russia, where does that go now? And then this idea of Michael Cohen, such a bombshell development back in the United States just on the eve of the president's departure. The president's aides expressing some frustration that the special counsel would make a dramatic move as they did to have Michael Cohen plead guilty today just as the president was leaving. I think that's going to affect his mood, and I think that's going to create some more uncertainty as to what we can expect here. This is a president who might be very frustrated and looking to simply not come to any conclusions with anybody, not do any deals, or he might be a president very motivated now to have a deal and get some positive news out of this trip. A lot of uncertainty. The president's still in the air. We'll find out more when he lands.
Just very quickly, can you just do some Trumpian interpretation, Eamon? When he says on the White House lawn today, I'm open to making a deal, but I like the deal we have right now. What does he mean? He means he likes the tariffs that he has in place? Is that what the deal is?
I think what he means is that what we have in place now is the deal that we have, right? The tariffs and presumably the presumptive imposition of further tariffs to come. The president seems to like having what he views to be the upper hand in these negotiations. Cutting a deal, holding off on tariffs, agreeing not to do anything in the future might rob him of a weapon that he's felt politically has been very important to at least bringing the Chinese to the table.